Dear students, welcome back to our part second. In the previous part, we discussed the scope of quantitative research, the common instrument that is used to collect quantitative data, and how the qualitative and quantitative research can be combined to form mixed methodology approach. Now that you have a clear picture of how the data is collected, it's time to move forward into the consumer research process and explore that what happens after the data is in hand. This part will help you to understand the data analysis, the interpretation of data, reporting, and the final stage, which is using the research findings to make real business decisions. So, let us now begin by imagining that you have completed a very large scale survey. 500 consumers have, you can say 500 consumers has responded, giving their opinions about a particular product price, packaging, preferences, satisfaction, or anything you should focus on. Now, you will have a very large pile of raw data. Raw data simply means that the data is unorganized, untouched, unprocessed information, you can say. And if you look at them directly, you won't be able to take any decision because it won't make any sense. It's like having the ingredients but no recipe. That is why the next step, which is data analysis, is so important, because it transforms the scattered and shattered numbers into the meaningful insight. The first stage of data analysis is preliminary data cleaning. That's a very simple but a very necessary step. It means checking the data for mistakes, checking the data for missing answers and duplications or irrelevant entries, you can say. So, for example, some respondents may leave half of the questionnaires blank, and some may give unrealistic answers, and some may tick all the options. These issues must be corrected or removed to avoid the misleading results. Clean data is the foundation of a good data analysis. Once the data is cleaned, the researcher basically begins organizing it for further analysis, which will include entering it into some kind of statistical software, or you can say coding the variables and structuring it in a more readable form. For instance, if the survey includes gender, age, groups, or income levels, the categories must be coded so that they can be compared with one another later. Coding simply means that you are going to assign numbers to certain categories. For example, you can assign number 1 to male and number 2 to female, and the income level can be coded as 1 for low and 2 for medium, or maybe 3 for high, and so on and so forth. All these steps help us in arranging the data for analysis. Now comes the interesting part, which is running the statistical analysis. This is where the real story begins. The most basic type of analysis is called descriptive analysis, and it includes calculating the averages, calculating the percentages, frequencies, and distributions. If you want to know the average satisfaction score, or what the percentage of people prefer a particular brand, then you can use descriptive statistics, and descriptive statistics will tell you that particular information will be delivered by that. It helps you to understand what is common and what is you can say branding, and what patterns are emerging, what patterns are trending and emerging as well. After descriptive analysis, the researchers often use inferential analysis, which means that drawing deeper conclusions from that particular data. Inferential statistics helps us understand the relationships, the differences and the predictions. For example, the regression analysis can tell you whether the price will influence the satisfaction or not, and the correlation can show whether the two variables, our independent and dependent variables, are interconnected to each other and interlinked to each other or not. T-test or ANOVA can show whether these different groups think differently or not. These statistical tools will give you decision makers will give the decision makers more confidence, because the results are backed by the scientific analysis and not the guesswork. So once the data is analyzed, the next challenge is its interpretation. As we have analyzed the data, we have cleaned and everything, we have performed every step. Now the interpretation is equally important. Interpretation means making sense of these results. Numbers alone cannot speak, but the researchers interpret what they simply imply. For example, if the analysis shows that 78% of the consumers prefer online shopping, it's not enough just to write this in the form of numbers or in numerical form. We need to interpret it as well, and the interpretation would explain that this number means a lot for the businesses. It may mean that the companies should invest more in e-commerce platforms or to improve their delivery systems. The interpretation connects the findings to the real world decisions, and the interpretation also requires thinking very deeply. You must ask the question like, why did the consumers respond this way, and what could be the reasons behind these different thinking patterns? Are these cultural or economic factors influencing these their decisions, and what does the pattern tell you about the future behavior of customer? So I must say that interpretation transforms the data from mere information to the strategic knowledge. After the interpretations come, then comes the step of reporting. Reporting the findings is one of the most important steps in the research process. If the findings are not clearly communicated, even the best research will become useless. So a report must be simple, must be readable, reliable and visually appealing, so so that the managers can understand the insights quickly. And remember that the managers do not have to read the very complicated reports. They prefer the clear summaries of interpretations, supported by, you can say, graphs, supported by the tables and insights. So a good research report begins with an introduction that explains the purpose of our study. It tells why the research was conducted basically. Then it briefly explains the research design, the sample we have taken and the methods used to conduct the research, and that the findings which are presented in a very structured way. And the graph, charts and percentages are all the part of a very good research report. So I must say that the report ends with some kind of recommendations when the actions that the company should be taking based on the results. We will write some recommendations based on the insights of our analysis. And this is how the analysis is performed using different statistical tools like SPSS and Smart PLS, Stata and etc. And once you have performed the analysis, you have cleaned the data, you will report the findings in a very clear manner, guided by the recommendations for the managers and policymakers for their ease in decision making. This was all for our part second of consumer research process, which has ended on these kind of you can say these kind of things that I have told you, that how to perform the analysis and which specific tools do we use to perform the analysis and how to report the findings. And in our next lecture of consumer behavior, we will be back with a separate agenda. Till then, take good care of yourself, dear students. Allah Hafiz.